and welcome to another episode of Peaches and Tea, where we talk about owning a waxing center, running a waxing center, and being part of a waxing center. All right, ladies.
Hello.
Caitlin, introduce yourselves because I know you were on before, but for those who don't know you, just say a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. I'm a skincare I'm a skincare specialist in the Peach Bar, and I started about like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks? You mean 3 months? Oh no, downstairs three
No,
weeks.
three. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I
I
started
was
about
like,
3 weeks ago downstairs, but upstairs where they do waxing, I was there for 3 months.
yeah. Aaliyah.
Hi, my name's Aaliyah. I am a wax specialist at the Peach Bar. I've been here for 3 months. I think me and Caitlin started around the same time.
Yes.
I've been waxing for a few months now. I think it's coming up to a year now because I was doing it before the Peach Bar, but I was just doing it on my own. So we're close to 1 year.
Oh my God. That is a
Yeah,
long time. All right,
yeah.
so in this episode, I wanted you ladies to talk about your journey. And because I know the first time you guys came on, you were kind of just fresh into the Peach Bar. So I wanted to see how far you've grown, what you've learned, and we'll go from there. So Aaliyah, you could start off. Like, how do you feel like you've grown into your position here at the Peach Bar?
I definitely feel a lot more confident in waxing now than I did in the very beginning. I was actually talking to Erica a couple of days ago about it. That like I'm doing way better than I was in the beginning, and it's because I've grown my confidence so well. If I just keep telling myself I know what I'm doing it correctly, these are the steps, and I'm good to go. And I'm also like super fast now. I wasn't before. It took me like a while, but I'm definitely fast now, and I'm excited about that.
I think I think it's because when you first started, when I walked out the room, because Jesse was like, she's running behind Erica. I don't know what it is. Come down, and I watched her. And when I walked out the room, I just looked at Jesse. I'm like, she's doing all the steps right. I don't know why she's going so slow. And Jesse's like, but what could it be? And I'm like, maybe because she waxes the vagina like 3 times to make sure all the hair is off. Maybe that's what it is. Because she's deep. And Jesse's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she checks. Like, she's like ripping buttholes apart to make sure like she got in
Yeah.
there. Like, she's deep in there. Like, I mean, if a client would have farted, she definitely would have caught pink eye because that's how
Yeah.
close she was. But it was a good wax. Everyone rebooked her, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. But now you're booked back to back. I think when I was, what day was it that we did the flash sale for her, and you were booked back to back.
Thursday.
Oh yeah, I was
Yes.
there. She
Hmm.
was shaking in her boots. She was like,
I was.
I was like, breathe, you're okay. I was like, the worst that could happen, you run behind. I'm right here. I'll take them. She's like, okay. And she didn't run behind. I
Nope.
was shocked.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Caitlin, what about you?
What I learned, like in my journey in the Peach Bar, would be it would be mainly like how I wax in general. Like I feel like when I first came here, it was horrendous, like the technique in a sense. Just because, so I started off in European, and for the most part, when I came from European, I only had really like over there 2 3 days of training. So for the most part, like whatever I knew was really just based off of those trainings and like what I tried on people. So when I came here, Erica was like, we're gonna teach you how to do this for real. And she taught me how to use a lot less wax, and just overall my just how to wax better. So yeah,
I think
that's what I would say I learned a lot.
I think European is great. I would never knock European when it comes to when you're first learning waxing because they truly teach you your speed. But when it comes to technique, their technique
Speed,
isn't really
yes.
there. Speed, yes, technique, no. But it's
Mm-hmm.
funny because when I came out there to rewatch Caitlin, um, I think I'm the only one who used this. She had a T Rex arm, like a dead arm. Like
Oh my God.
she wouldn't touch your skin. So like so as an esthetician, you hold the skin and you like apply pressure. So like wherever your hand is, that's you're guiding it. Your hand's here, you pull like so. This hand follows this hand. And with Caitlin, it was like
It
this.
was one
I'm like,
hand.
I'm like, I'm like, do you use this hand? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, anytime she walks Jesse, I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesse, are you seeing this? Jesse's like, yeah. And I'm like, she's not using her hand. And then it came down to the question, like, it was a journey because I'm like, do you use that hand at home? Like, how do you roll down your window? Like, she was like, this hand. I'm like, what? Like, so you don't use
No.
this hand at all?
You also asked me how do I brush my hair. I was like, yeah, with one hand too. And you're like, you don't hold it. And I was like, no, not really.
And I was like, how do you open your car door? And she was like this. I'm like, still with this hand. Like, use this one. I was like, why? And so we
Well,
came
now
up.
I am.
So
Now
now
I
she no
am
longer has
definitely.
T Rex hand. She has two
Yes.
good, strong hands. It's not little.
Although I do catch myself sometimes, like, and I'm like, oh wait, two hands. Like, T-Rex hands definitely like stood in my head.
Oh my God. See, it's the little words that people remember. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, you gotta be like, if I never said T Rex arm, she would never remembered it. Now look, now she doesn't have a T Rex arm. So now from European to here, and then even you, Aaliyah, how do you feel like our wax compares to other companies' waxes? Because I mean, when you guys both came to the Peach Bar, I think this was like your first time really playing with Ital Wax. How are you guys liking Ital Wax compared to other companies?
I like that we also have like two different waxes here, just so I can play a little bit with both at the same time. Um, I definitely like the way the wax like glides on the skin better than like the wax I was using before, Gigi wax. It was like the Gigi wax was very like I don't even know how to explain it, like plastic. Like, is that a good explanation? It kind of like rolled on like plastic, and this one like rolls on like butter, and it's just like easy to like manipulate. It's like it's good.
When it comes to the European wax, it wasn't a bad wax to be honest. I feel like it's kind of similar to our orchid one, but I kind of tend to like the orchid one a little bit more just because I feel like it grabs onto like the little details. Like so if there's like any little like just the little hairs, honestly.
Like the
But I
stubborn
can't really
hairs?
say, yeah, the stubborn hairs. That's exactly it. But other than that, I can't really say it was a bad wax, just because it got the job done. So
Yeah, right. All right. Now, which one is your favorite out of the two, Aaliyah? Like, which one do you prefer, the cream or the gel?
You know, it's really weird because in the beginning I really liked the cream, but I've started to use the gel one like a lot more. I don't know the reasoning behind it, but I feel like the gel just like grips onto the hair more. I have no I there's no
Now, is
explanation
it
for me. But
the orchid that you're liking? Because we had gel when you were there before.
Mhm.
We had the full body mixed with crystal. Like we had the champagne color one. Now, is it just
Mhm.
mm,
this gel that you're liking better, or was it just
It's this one that I'm liking
oh, so
better.
you're liking the orchid?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know
Well,
why.
we got news for you guys. We're about to change the wax on you. So
really,
Great.
I love the. Wait, are you changing the orchid one now?
we're we're changing the orchid, but I think we're changing it for the better. Because when we were doing one-on-ones, a lot of girls said that clients were saying like it stings a little bit. But here in Florida, I mix it with crystal, so it's still the orchid, but with crystal in it, and it doesn't sting as much. So we're hoping that could change kind of the formula a little bit to release some of that stinging.
Okay,
Um, it's still
definitely
orchid,
can see
but
that.
it just might be a different combo. I mean, I like it. Now, what are some of your like horror stories? Like since you've been at the Peach Bar, you've been with us for 3 months, you are no longer newbies. I think someone had to break you in to be a pro waxer by now. And what is your story?
So it has to be in. It has to be here in the Peach Bar, or just in
Or
general
just in,
waxing.
I think in general waxing. Like what made you like second guess your career as a waxer, I would say.
Um, so I mean, it wasn't like I necessarily second. I don't think I've ever really second guessed my career, but when it came to it, I think there was just like I guess like times like having feedback from certain like clients when it comes to so we are talking about our my little T-Rex hand. I used to just use one hand and I wouldn't hold the skin taut. So sometimes like on the sides I would go to rip it and then it would cause a little bit of like bruising. So when I would get the feedback from it, I didn't even know I was doing that. And I was just like, when I saw a picture and how bad it was, I was just like, wow, like I didn't even know I was doing this. I thought I was doing a great job. And then it's like, you get a little feedback like that, and it's like, wow, am I that bad of a waxer? But it's not really that. It's just at the end of the day, knowing that there's other ways to do things, like holding the skin. And yeah. And I think other than that, there was one time where I had a, a client that was pregnant and she hadn't came in a while. And at that time, I didn't have anything to like trim down her hairs, and her hairs were very long. So I kind of just put it over. And I remember just knowing that it was gonna hurt and telling her, like, hey, this might hurt. And within that service, like I ripped it. It was like the lip area, and she was like, yeah, no, I can't do this. So she came out with just one side like finished and one side not finished. And then she was like, it really wasn't 100% you. She's like, I probably shouldn't have waited this long, but I felt so bad because if I would have just had like a scissor, something to help her out, it wouldn't have been as horrible. But that was one of like my scariest moments because I was like, I know it was gonna hurt.
I don't think it was you.
Mhm.
As a waxer who's been waxing for a decade now, um, when it comes to that, it's not that you trimmed, it's just that she waited too long because I don't trim it. Like those who come in with
Mm-hmm.
really long hair, I never trim it. Like unless
Okay.
it's been like 6 years and I could braid it, then I'll trim it. But other than that, it's gonna hurt regardless. The way
No,
I
but it
look,
was real bad.
yeah,
It was like this.
the way
I could have braided it.
the way I look at it is kind of like a tree. So if you plant it and the roots start to grow, no matter if you trim the tree down or not, it's still going to be tough to pull out the ground just because it's been there for
True.
a while. What about you, Aaliyah?
There was one time that I didn't realize that this client had a skin tag like by her bikini line. As soon as I applied one layer of wax and I ripped it, the skin tag was glued onto the wax. And my heart dropped. I was like, I don't know what to do. There's this giant skin tag on the wax. She starts bleeding. I'm like, what do I do? I'm like freaking out here. And she's like, oh, yeah, I should have probably told you that. It just grew out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do now. But thank goodness it stopped bleeding before she left. And she told me that she'd go to the dermatologist as I suggested her to do because I don't know what the reason for the skin tag was, but she said that it grew like 2 weeks ago and now it came off of her body.
Well, you know
I
what?
was
She
very
should be
confused.
happy that you only charged her $35 to
For
pull off a
real.
skin tag, where a dermatologist would have cost her like five thousand
100.
dollars to remove a skin tag.
Yep.
I just had I was filming an episode. Ask Jesse. I was filming, so I wanted to do is called like wax room talks, where like you guys hear like my conversation with my clients, and just to see how it goes because a lot of people don't know how to genuinely create conversations in the room. So I was like, let's just do podcast episodes so you see how I talk to my clients. And one of my clients peed while I was pulling up the strip.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So all you hear is like we're talking like da da da, and you just hear her go. I'm like, what happened? She goes, I peed myself. I'm like, what? She's like, I peed myself. And I'm like, yeah, but you whispering, you still have a mic on. I can hear everything you're saying. So yes, everyone, she just peed
Oh
herself. And she just starts laughing. And the more she's laughing, the more it's leaking out. And I'm just like, what is going on right now?
no.
And this is
Oh
like,
no.
I think us women have to take like some accountability that we have to be just as precautious as men. Like you can't just be letting
Hmm.
anyone in your vagina. Anyone. Not their mouth, not their fingers, not their privates, because dude, you never know what
Hmm.
someone's catching. And men out there too, and women out
Yeah.
there, you never know what we're carrying. Like for anyone to be a sexual partner. I had one girl come in like that, and I told Jesse like I laid the wax and all you saw was it crawling. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I pulled off the strip and I'm like, I can't wax you. I said, you generally, I think you have crabs down there. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I'm like, I don't know, but it's not a spider, it's not a tick. It sounds like it's crabs. It looks like it's crabs. And the girl's like, well, can you just wax them off? No, I cannot.
Oh, heck no.
I was like, I cannot. Please leave. Go to a gyno.
Oh no.
And then I get so skeeved out that I'm like, yo, I gotta go home, take a shower. Like, please cancel my whole work day because I feel like I'm gonna spread it to other people. And then even like to me, it's like gonorrhea, like herpes, all that's like contagious. Like I'd be like, what if my gloves aren't long enough? I touch it, I have an open
No,
like
yeah.
blister or something. Who knows? And then we like to wax
Mhm.
ourselves like in between clients so that we have open pores. That's why I'm like, please don't wax yourself during the day. Like wax yourself like after you wax everyone, just because you never know what a client could have, and that touches your skin. It's over for you.
I feel like for me, it's like, especially if I'm doing extraction, sometimes like
Hmm.
they go in and like sometimes they don't know exactly like what it is. It can be like ingrowns, but then it can also be some like something else because it's just like bumps in general. So like sometimes like as I'm extracting ingrowns, because I know what ingrowns look like, I'll catch myself having my wrist there, and then it kind of crosses your mind like you really never know. So it's like you just kind of have to make sure like we have to make sure we're safe, but also like help them make sure they're safe too, in a sense of like just checking themselves. Because the reality of it is we all should just go get checked at least like every 6 months, and that's like at least because you really never know. You can get it from anything. It's not even just sexual contact.
I did Aaliyah's Brazilian the other day. I was so proud.
Yes.
I
Ooh.
was so confused because she was like, I need a. She was like, I need a Brazilian. Like she was. It was Thursday, right? She was like, oh, I need.
Hmm.
I need to get into Brazilian. And I was just like for filming, yeah, like ask Angie. And she was like, looked at me like if I was stupid. And she was like, no, like I need the Brazilian. And I was like, oh, I'll wax you. Just ask Angie to watch the front desk. She was like, I was like, yeah, let's go into your room. So I waxed her.
Yeah. It was painful, but and I waited too long. So I was telling her, I was like, I waited too long. Wait, wait.
I was making it hurt on purpose.
Yeah, she was. She was like, okay, ready? I was like, wait,
I wasn't even letting her get
wait.
ready. You know how you be like
She did it.
1, 2, 3, like breathe in and out. I would be like 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
let's go.
yeah. I was like, okay, it's fine.
I had to prepare her
It's
for the
fine.
work, so that way when
That's
I do
true.
it again, she'll be like, "Oh my god, this is so much better." See,
That's true.
because
That's
if you
true.
make
And
the
then like,
first one hurt really bad, by the time they come for a second one, they'll be like, "This is 10 times less painful. What are you doing different?" Oh no, sweetie, it's just because you came in, in 4 weeks. It doesn't hurt that bad.
So I had a client today who asked me, and I just wanted to see like your opinion on it. So she was basically just asking like about like guy Brazilians and like how like would you guys feel about that, or like have you ever like put that into consideration?
I used to perform them all the time. We used to do mandillions, and I was the only one who did it. But it's kind of one of those things where like men ruin it for other men, because
Yeah.
people come in and they're just like so. Um, I don't even know how to say this without offending men. Some Yeah, some men are just so inappropriate. Like I had men who got rock hard and started to jizz. I had men who came in and was kind of like, "Oh, just rub oil on me." Like men come in and be like, "I'm not shy. I hope you're not." Like it just makes you feel like uncomfortable as a female. But I even get uncomfortable. Not just saying that for men, but like even females, I get uncomfortable with females sometimes because I think one female told me she's like, "You guys should do happy endings here." I was like, "What? What?
what?
Bring that back a second, miss. What are we talking about right now?" Yeah, so I don't think I would ever do it because I personally don't want to make my girls feel uncomfortable at all. I know Aaliyah had an issue with a client, and you guys are free to walk out at
Mhm.
any time. Pineapples and walk right out the room. That's what I would say. Like that,
Yeah.
leave him in the room by himself with the wax. But I don't think we would ever bring it back. One, it's such a sensitive area that your insurance for whoever does it has to be high. And secondly,
Mhm.
like I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
do
I can
it.
see that. Honestly, so when I did work in European, for the most part, like they told a lot of my ex coworkers used to tell me like their little horror stories about it, and I can see where it can be uncomfortable, honestly, on both sides. But especially for the waxer, because at the end of the day it's a job, and like we're here strictly for the job. So I was basically telling my client that, to I mean, I wasn't getting like so into it, but I basically just said there's a lot of like horror stories that come with that, so
Yeah,
that's mainly why
there's
we
a
try not to
lot of
do it.
horror stories. I mean, out of like 100 waxers, I think probably like 80 of them have horror stories, and only 20% would have like a successful story. And that those odds just don't work out in my favor, to be honest. Because I feel like if I force you girls to do it, how many people are going to actually leave because they don't want to perform it? And then how many girls are going to wind up suing me for being in an unsafe work environment? You know what I mean? I just
Mm.
can't set myself up for that. So the answer
That's
is
true.
no, we would never do manzillions here at the Peach Bar. You could easily rip their skin because if you don't hold like the shaft at the same time you're pulling, or you don't hold the sack the same time you're pulling, and you let that skin like fold together, you're ripping skin off. And it's one of those things where like you have to really know your job, because you have to ask some questions. Did you just come from the gym? Did you just take a shower? Did you just do this? Because any slight change in their skin, it being like super moist or anything, you're ripping skin off. Well, let's leave on a high note. This was another episode of Peaches and Tea. Thank you, Aaliyah and Caitlin, for being part of the team. Any last words, ladies?
See you next time.
See you next time.
See you
All right,
next time.
bye, ladies.